Welcome to Tales and Travel Adventures. Let's visit Westside Park. Hello. Champaign Public Library and the Urbana Free Library have prepared this journey back in time for us. I am Lavana Hawkins, and today we will look at Westside Park in Champaign, Illinois. There are two ways you can use this program. You can just listen and follow along as I read the narrative that accompanies each slide. Or you or your partner can turn down the volume and use the controls to pause each screen so that you can read the narrative aloud yourself. You might also want to talk with your partner about what you are seeing or any memories that come to mind. Today, we will visit the very first park in Champaign, Illinois. The land for Westside Park was donated in 1854. You might wonder why a park in the very center of downtown is called Westside Park. When this park was planned and built, it was at the west edge of town. What would those planners think if they saw what surrounds the park now? It wasn't always known as Westside Park. Originally, it was informally known as the Commons, and farmers paid 35 cents a month to graze calves there. When it became a park, it was originally called White Park, after the man who donated the land. To transform the space from a cow pasture to an oasis for city dwellers, Benjamin Johnson donated $10,000 for its beautification. The funds were used to build sidewalks, a bandstand, and a fountain. The first art feature in the park was the Prayer for Rain sculpture above the Johnson Fountain. It was dedicated in 1899. You can just barely see it in the background behind these early park visitors. Here is a closer look. The fountain still stands at the center of the park today. How would you move your hands to show the movement of the water? What do you want to say the air feels like near the fountain in the summer? This picture in the 1990s shows how the water feature was changed during one of the repairs to the fountain. The Prayer for Rain statue has stood for over 100 years now. As the seasons change, so does the beauty of the statue. What do you want to say you would hear sitting on a nearby bench on this day? How do you imagine you would feel? What else might you see nearby? What would you do to stay warm? The Prayer for Rain sculpture was the first art installed at Westside Park, but several others have been added over the years. What do you imagine the sculptors were feeling as they worked on this? What tools do you want to say they worked with? What do you feel when you look at it? My sons and their friends always enjoyed visiting the Capron Memorial Sculpture Garden. We didn't know the name of it then. We called it the horse in the trees. They viewed the two boys in the sculpture as just two more friends to play with and enjoyed their companionship. Our days at Westside Park were always full of lots of activity. Anything could happen. What do you want to say happened next this day? Another of the features Mr. Johnson's donations made possible was the bandstand. The bandstand was also constructed in the 1890s. In 1912, about 3,000 people gathered at the bandstand to hear a campaign speech by Theodore Roosevelt. It is interesting that there are many women in this group, although they did not begin voting until 8 years later. There are no leaves on the trees, and the people are all wearing hats and coats, so it must have been cool weather. With no electric sound system, the people packed in closely to be able to hear. What do you imagine it was like to stand in this crowd in 1912 and listen to Roosevelt? The original bandstand is no longer in the park. However, a new one has been erected near the original location. It provides a pleasant place for individuals to sit or for groups to gather. We have had lots to see in Westside Park today, and there are many things we did not talk about. I have enjoyed visiting the park with you. I hope that you have too. Walking through a park, there are many smells and sounds to enjoy. We have talked about some of them together today. A park is not the only place to experience joy. There are many places with their own smells and sounds. Here's something to think about. What does joy mean to you? Questions? For materials to go along with this video, please contact Champaign Public Library at 217-403-2070 or the Champaign County Historical Archives, the Urbana Free Library, 217-367-4025. For information about using questions to have a meaningful conversation, visit timeslips.org.